Good evening. Welcome to the Zen of Ren. We're going to be talking tonight about how um, internal racism, politics, and religion are destroying community economics. I know that's not the full title on YouTube because it wouldn't allow me to put that full title in there. I'm going to give some people a few minutes to join in. What's up, Brandon, Clint, Yolanda? But we're going to talk about how these internal issues are destroying. I got a few stories that I want to tell you guys that will lead into this whole discussion. There's a few stories I want to talk about. A few things that happened to me, a few things that I'm seeing on the net, a few things that I've seen on Facebook. Oh, hello. Hey, Miss Williams from Trinidad and Tobago. That's what I'm talking about. I can never say that name right. Hey, how you guys doing? I really, I was going to have a different discussion tonight. Tonight, I really just wanted to talk about building, economics, building wealth, and starting from in the very beginning of your home and using the lessons you can pick up from books like The Richest Man in Babylon, which is an old story that many rich people have been using over and over again, The Richest Man in Babylon. But there's so many things that's been happening over the last 2 weeks. And Sunday, I was supposed to be on a simulcast with Kevin Wesley, who's talking about is racism destroying, the black community, and it was about internal racism, but I had some technical difficulties, so I couldn't be on the show. So this is also going to piggyback on what we was talking about and what he was talking about on his show. If you didn't see it, I added comment and commentary, but there's some other things that's been happening. So let me go ahead because I'm not going to keep you guys long. Y'all know I'm very much into we're going to get this in, get this out, and get it done. And we're not going to belabor the problem eternally. We're going to look at solutions, things that we can do. But first, let me tell you guys a couple of stories, a couple of things that brought me to this topic tonight. Well, the first thing I want to tell you is most of you guys know I own a gourmet popcorn and ice cream shop. And something that happened recently, hey, how you doing? Something that happened recently is, so my store saw a dip in November, right? The last 2 weeks of November, I saw a dip. Now, instead of waiting and hoping that things just get better, I decided to be a little proactive. I know the people in this community know more about what's going on than I do. So it's kind of like the show Wisdom of the Crowd when they solve a crime by getting the wisdom of the people. I use wisdom of the crowd, that same sense, to figure out if there's anything going on in my area. Hey, Hosanna, Marcus, Maurice, Robbie, Rhino, what's up, man? Tony. So I sent out this email, especially engineered to try to figure out what's going on. And I did find out that in my immediate area, within 5 miles of me, there are 2,000 Boy Scouts. And in mid-November, they start handing out over 10,000 bags of popcorn, right? Yeah, I know. I'm working on another phone that I'm going to use for Facebook. So this is the last time Facebook is going to be kind of grainy like this. But the Boy Scouts are handing out like 10,000 bags of popcorn in my area. So using the wisdom of the crowd, I was able to discover what caused the dip in my business. But I also used that same wisdom of the crowd to figure out what marketing has been working best in my area so that I can focus my attention on the better marketing. Now, that's the kind of thing I wanted to talk about tonight, like how to get the wisdom of people, the wisdom of the crowd, your community, to do better marketing, to do better business. When I first started this company, I wasted $32,000 on marketing that I still haven't seen the return on that investment yet. So I was not about to spend money on flyers and mailers and things that I know is not going to bring in any kind of return on my investment. So using the wisdom of the crowd, I had a better sense, and I've had an exceptional, December has been very good, right? No, I don't have marshmallow popcorn. I had that in sweet potato souffle popcorn last month, but it's over. So using that wisdom of the crowd. But there was some other information that came through. There was an email that one person sent. And I wasn't going to broadcast anything concerning this person's email, except for the fact that I asked the person to come in and let's talk about it. Let's have a sit down. Let's try to understand one another. But he refused. And since he refused, then I'll talk about it here. because this is part of what we're going to talk about. This is part of why internal racism and politics and religion destroys community economics. Because although in his letter, he said that he's not talking about his reason for not coming back to my store because I'm a black business and he wants to see me succeed. He wants to see me succeed is what he said. But in the letter, he said that because I co-host a show with Kevin Wesley, who's anti-religion, and I myself am anti-religion. I'm not anti-God. I'm just anti-religion, religious structured religion. He said, because I co-host a show with him, and because I talk about tantra and sexual things, which threw me off because when I talk about relationships and tantra, what I'm talking about is finding the divine aspect of sexuality within a couple and not the gratuitous aspects of sexuality with the couple, which should fall in line with his Christian views. That sex is not for the lust, but for the joining, the bonding of a couple. But he said that because I talk about sexual issues and anti-religion and his family prays over their food every night, he didn't want a person like me making his treats for his family. That's what the letter said. And I was pissed. I will admit I was pissed. I was pissed not because he had an opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Everybody's entitled to why they're not going to shop with someone. But what irritates me is that he said that as a black man, he wants my business to succeed. But this is his rationale. His religion is saying that he can't come and shop here because I talk about tantra, uplifting the spiritual sexuality between a couple, and I talk on a show with Kevin about not falling for religion and asking questions. Okay? Here I have a question. What I wanted to ask him. When you go to the Asian shop and you see the Buddha statue, do you still eat there? When you go to the gas station and you see the Muslim guy who owns the gas station, do you still get your gas there? When you go and you see the Hindu guy who owns the gas station or the restaurant or the Dairy Queen, do you still eat there? Do you go to a restaurant that may be owned by an American, but do you go back in the kitchen to see who's cooking your food? Are they gay? Are they pedophiles? Are they on the sexual list for sexual, whatever it is, when you rape people? Are you on that list? Are you checking all these things, or do you have a special qualification because I'm a black man? And that's the thing that bothered me, because I know that these people don't do this across the board. I'm not going to shop with you because you're not Christian like I am. I'm not going to shop with you because you do a show that ain't got nothing to do with what you do inside your popcorn shop about couples finding the divineness within their sexuality. I'm not going to come and shop with you. Do you do that with everybody? Or is it just specially made for black people? And the reason why I say it may be specially made for black people, because when my store was in Lithonia, Georgia, surrounded by the black community, I had a lady who came in and she was Jehovah's Witness. Now, I didn't have any problems with her shopping at my store. I wasn't even offended when she gave me one of her cards. Now, I explained to her that I'm not Jehovah's Witness and my store is not a place for people to try to convince people of their religion, but because everybody is welcome here. And I don't want people feeling like when they come in, they're being accosted. This is a happy place. So I told her, I don't mind you sitting here and taking a break from when you're handing out your cards in the plaza, but please don't do it inside my store. And I asked her that, hey, Rick, how you doing? I asked her that like 4 or 5 times, right? I asked it 4 or 5 times. And you're right, London, they don't ask that question to other people. But I asked her 4 or 5 times not to try to convince my patrons to become a Jehovah's Witness, that my store is not for that. You want to do that out in the parking lot, do it, but not in my store. And so the Jehovah's Witness in that community decided that my store could not be shopped at. Now, Walmart asked them not to do that, but they still go over to Walmart. They got kicked out of Walmart. They got kicked out of Publix. They got kicked out of Kroger for doing that, but yet they keep shopping there. But my shop, they were told never to come back to because I wouldn't let them spread their information in my store. it's a bias towards the small black business. This is why we can't, we want to blame the white man. We want to blame the government. We want to say that it's the Illuminati, or it's the Masons, it's the Bilderberg Group, it's the Bohemian Grove, it's all these entities that are holding us down. Nah, we're holding ourselves down. We're holding ourselves down. You see, that video that came out the other day. Now, you guys will notice I don't post videos on my Facebook unless I've researched where the video came from. But the video of the little white boy who was crying about being bullied. As soon as it came out, people posting it. They're posting it. It's everywhere. Hey, Shay, KJ. People posting the video. The little boy crying. He's being bullied. Now, first and foremost, before we go anywhere in this one, let me express, I do not condone bullying of any sort. And if you can walk away from a situation, walk away. But there are times where you cannot walk away. And there are insults that you should not sit there and take. Right? So people are posting this video of this little boy crying without doing any research. The UFC comes out strong. Actors, singers come out strong for this little boy. No research. Why? Because they want to get in the limelight. So you do a little research. USA Today went out and did some research. USA Today found that the mother and the family were posting pictures of them holding the Confederate flag and saying that when are white people going to stand up? I thought white people were supposed to back up white people. The one UFC fighter who did invite them to an event came out and said that he invited them to the event, but all she wanted was some money on her GoFundMe. Right? And then it come out later that the little boy was in the school calling the other little black boys the N-word. Now, I know I grew up in the South. I grew up in Atlanta, Marietta, Georgia, Bible Belt. I grew up in an environment where if a white person or a black person, hey Samantha, were to call me the N-word, I'm going to tap that booty. I'm going to whoop that ass. You're about to get beat down. Yes, I know I cursed a little bit, but it's all right. But it needed to be right there because they finna get a beat down. All right? As a kid, that was what's going to happen. Hey, as an adult, I asked another black man not to call me the N-word. He insisted upon calling me that. He got frustrated and decided to punch me. And I continued to whoop that butt right after. I won't tolerate anybody calling me that. Now, this little boy is saying all that. Now, on one person, I'm not going to call him out. On one person's feed, I expressed that this is what the family is about. This is what the little boy did. And the people on there were saying that, telling the little boy, God is going to make your enemies your footstool. Well, this boy's enemies are the black kids that he's calling the N-word. Matter of fact, let me not be political. I don't use this word, but let me just go ahead and say it so that you can get the emphasis of it. This boy's enemies, the one that they're praying that God is going to make into their footstool, are the ones that the little boys going into school calling them a nigger. But y'all sitting up there and making excuses, saying that, well, the two wrongs make a right. God changes people's hearts. Let me tell you what changes people. In America, we still be slaves if it was still profitable and the Civil War hadn't happened. We still be slaves. In Haiti, they still be slaves if they had not let go of the gods that was forced upon them and went back to their gods and kicked the French out. The Canadian French got kicked out. And of course, what was it? Pat Robertson came out and said the American slaves did it the right way, but you Haitians did it wrong. So all this praying. The civil rights. He uses the word name calling is a form, but exactly, Shay. Name calling is a form of bullying. Verbal assault. We used to say that little stupid thing. And even as a kid, I thought it was stupid. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Are you serious? Words are the most damaging things out there. I'd rather you beat my butt, beat me down, physically abuse me, before you mentally abuse me with your words. But see, when you got these people sitting up there saying that the Haitians did it wrong, watch 1804. When they say the Haitians did it wrong, watch 1804. When they say the Haitians did it wrong, What they're trying to tell you is that but you need to sit there quietly and just keep on praying to the same God that they praying to and hope that God listens to you instead of them and changes their heart miraculously so that they'll one day give you some level of freedom, but you're still sitting up here enslaved right now. And let me tell you why you're enslaved, because there's a war that was fought and they're not even fighting anymore. I did a video about Wu Wei Wu, which is the art of doing without, the art of non-doing, doing without doing. Your enemy doesn't have to fight you. We keep our own economic enslavement, our own community enslavement, without anybody doing anything. Why? Because we would rather have internal fights. And I know Kevin talked about light skin versus dark skin and all that kind of stuff, but we have a bigger issue. And that's not to lower his, but we have a bigger issue. We have a bigger internal fight. And that internal fight is the fact that you see another person of color doing business, but you find a reason. And this is not clear across the board. Let me express that. I have tons of black Christians who shop with me. I have black Buddhists who shop with me. I have black Muslims who shop with me. I have blacks in the conscious community who shop with me. I have black people in all different political agendas, Republicans, Democrats, who shop with me. I got white people of all religions, Jewish, all of them shop with me. I got Hindus, Buddhists. Matter of fact, I was talking to a Hindu guy the other day because we was talking about Lord Ganesh, and they all shop with me. So I'm not indicting everybody in the group. So let me express that. But what I am saying is, it's those few. It's those few that filter into the masses. You see, you can easily convince people of anything and get them going in a group mind. And that's what's the problem. They don't have to convince you. You've already got it in your mind that black businesses don't serve at the higher quality and the high quality service as anybody else. Even though that guy who owns the beauty supply, who is not Christian, treats you like crap, but you keep going back. You keep going back. But if a black business makes one mistake, all of a sudden you can't do business with them no more. I made a mistake a few years back. I'm not going to say what group it was, but I did a fundraiser a few years back, 2015, September. I was extremely late on finishing the fundraiser. Now, what happened in September is that my father had 4 strokes. He was put in the hospital, had a couple of more strokes in the hospital, went on hospice, passed away in October, and so I was late on the fundraiser. I explained this to the group. I apologized. I gave them free stuff. And from that experience, they decided they would never do business with me again. Now, let that be Popcorn Palace make a mistake on their fundraiser, to which I know that Popcorn Palace has made mistakes on their fundraiser previously. They kept going back to them, and they went back to them. But I make a mistake one time, once, and I'm out. We can't have that mentality, people. Let me tell you another mentality that they have that's winning. When my store is in Lithonia, and I'm using personal stuff because I don't want to make up nothing. When my store is in Lithonia, I had a woman come into my store. First, it was in Decatur. She said, I wish that there was my store used to be a Starbucks. She said, I wish there was a coffee shop in our area. And I said, so there's never been a coffee shop in the area? Now, I'm asking the question because I'm thinking, maybe I need to add coffee or, opportunity here. She said, well, there was one on Flat Shows, but they were there for 2 years and then they went out of business. And see, and before she said a word, I said, so did you go there? And she was like, well, no, I didn't go there because I didn't want them to go out of business. I didn't want to get used to them and then they go out of business and now I'm used to them. And I was like, are you serious? Are you serious? Now, I was pissed and it was probably the wrong thing to do. But I looked at her and I said, ma'am, how in the world do you think a business can remain if people are saying, I don't want to go there, I don't want to get used to it because they might go out of business? And then, do you say that when they open up a Burger King or a McDonald's? Do you say that when they open up any other business in your area? No, but you see a small business open up and you don't want to go there because you don't want to get used to them before they go out of business. When I was in Latonia, I was in a horrible location. 3 years, bad location. It was a horrible location. But let me tell you one of the things that made it horrible. I had to move my store. I got outbidded on my lease. I had to move my store. I moved 1.8 miles down the street. Only 3% of my customers would come the 1.8 miles down the street. I know Yolanda is completely stupid, right? And y'all know we're not loyal to ourselves. So only 3% of my customers came 1.8 miles down the street to where I relocated. Even when I saw my customers out in town, they would say, oh, well, I'll just wait for you to come back and move back into a different plaza. I was like, how do you think that's ever going to happen if I'm not making revenue? Then but here's the one that crushed me, crushed my heart. So after 3 years, I decided I was going to move my store again. I wasn't going to suffer like this. So I got ready to move my store. This lady comes in. She said, you know, I've been driving by here ever since you moved over here. But I just didn't want to come over here and get used to your store and then you leave. And I looked at her and I said, well, ma'am, guess what? I'm moving my store in 1 month. And I said, I appreciate people like you. No, first she was like, well, at least I'm here now. And I said, no, it doesn't matter. You being here now, you want me to have gratitude towards you. I have no gratitude for that. Because if you had been coming here for the last 3 years, I may not be moving. If the hundreds of you had been coming here for the last 3 years, I may not be moving. Understand, I had a 5,000 customer basis when I moved 1.8 miles down the street, and only 3% came down the street. How do you think a business is going to last in your community if you don't support it? You have to support those businesses. If you don't, then what do you expect them to do? People call me now and they're like, you moved so far away, you moved to, and I appreciate the ones who are my loyal customers. I appreciate them tremendously. Don't get me wrong. For those people, I appreciate them and I wish I did not have to move my store. But for the ones who I have not seen, who I did not see, who the ones who did not even recognize that I had spent a year under a new brand because they hadn't come to my store before I moved in, I knew that those people weren't supporting me. And so when they call and they say, why did you leave? I tell them, because you didn't come. Over a year went by before you even realized that you didn't come. That's why I moved. So if you got a business in your community, you got to support that business. I would love to build in those communities, but I'm not going to risk losing everything just so that I can put something in a community and people can be proud from afar. So we take crap from everybody else, and we got that built in our head that it's okay to take crap from everybody else. This little boy get on there crying about being bullied, which turns out that it's all a big lie, and his mother was just trying to get money. She got $55,000 on a GoFundMe. Turns out to be a big lie. All these black people that I see on Facebook, oh, poor baby, oh, you so handsome, oh, God's gonna bless you, and all this kind of stuff, turns out to be a lie. But when King Nan, young, intelligent little black boy, talking about you got to use your mind, the wisdom of your brain, expressing how you're fighting over some tennis shoes, and when you're an adult, you won't even be able to fit in those shoes. When King Nan, and I know Josh is going to see these, and Josh is going to, even though I'm putting him on the spot, he's going to put the link on these videos to support King Nan. King Nan can't get anybody to support his GoFundMe so that he can do something about bullying. You got a young man, intelligent young black man want to do something about bullying. Can't get the support. I was told about a young girl. She was bullied, young little black girl, bullied into the point where she committed suicide. No support there either. Y'all ain't coming, nobody's coming out strong for that. But y'all see this little boy, and all of a sudden we want to come out strong? Really? Really? How do you think you're ever going to build your community if you don't come out strong for the people in your community? Bullying is wrong across the board, no doubt. But how do you think we build anything if we have such internal fighting? I can't support you because you're not the same religion as me. I had somebody tell me that because I'm not a registered Democrat, they won't support my business. For real. That's what I was told. Because when the election was going on, not this one, but the one previous one, Obama ran the second time, and people was like, so you're a Democrat, you voting for Obama? I was like, I told him, I said, well, no, first of all, I'm independent, and I want to hear what everybody got to say first. I was told that they couldn't support my business because I wouldn't just vote for the man just out of pure fact that he was a Democrat and black. I was told that this was back in 2008. I had just got divorced after being married for 17 years, and I went out with this girl. She was a lawyer, and she's on the Georgia Democratic whatever board. And she told me that she couldn't date me because I was not a registered Democrat. I'm not a registered Republican. I'm an independent. I vote for whoever the heck. I listen to the person first. I need to know what you got to say. I need to know your track record. But because I'm not a registered Democrat, she told me she couldn't date me. She said, how would it look if she showed up with somebody who wasn't a Democrat? I said, it looked like you're an intelligent person who's just dating based on who you like being with. But that was her. Hey, I'm not going to be mad. That's her opinion. But politics, we separate ourselves from all these politics. Like we can't have an independent thought. Can I be independent? Can you be independent? Can you think for yourself? I mean, that's the trap. That's the war. It's to keep convincing you to think ulterior to what was in your best interest. That's the war. That's the battle, is to keep you attached, to keep you with the umbilical cord, still attached, not able to think for yourself. And the worst part is we do it internally now. It's like the slave want to leave the plantation, and you got the one saying that, why you won't leave here? Ain't no place better than here. We need to stay here. You gonna get all us in trouble with all that kind of talk. That's what it sounds like. That's what I hear. Right, the ignorance is exhausting. But that's what I hear. When people sit up there and they try to tell me that I can't think for myself, that I have to be Democrat, I have to be Christian, I have to be in the black community, No, when I hear that, all I hear is, Massa gonna get you. We trying to keep a good house here. Don't you run off like that now. You gotta stay with us. We all under here singing our song, waiting on heaven's glory. We just waiting. I don't want to hear that bull. I don't want to hear none of that. That's crap, people. That's the trap. That is the trap. Laughing at me, Dax. That's the trap, though. That is the trap. Is keeping you from not thinking. I had a beautiful, and I'm gonna do a whole separate video about this tomorrow. Had a beautiful conversation with a young lady today, right, about raising her kids and how to raise them to think independently, right? And that's the problem. That's what she was. Her family wants her to push and to force the kids to believe one thing, to walk one path, that only their way is the right way. But she wants her children to critically think and come to independent thought. But we don't want to let our people. We don't want to do that. We rather force you, and we force things on ourselves. Oh, a light skinned girl, she'll make beautiful babies. Oh, a dark skinned man, he a thug. He gonna be he know how to handle. He a man. But a light skinned dude, he kind of pretty and soft. We have these internal thoughts, this programming that's keeping us from building community. And here's the thing. Without money, we can't build community. Without good business, we can't build community. And this is the last part I'm going to stick to, and then we're going to be out, because I am not keeping you guys all night. I'm not Kevin, who be talking for like 4 hours. And partly because I be talking too for 4 hours. But people talk about how they want to build Black Wall Street. Now, many times before, I've come on here and I've talked about, I haven't done it in the last year or so because I was so frustrated with the black churches and the black mosque, right? And now I'm going to throw the Hebrew Israelites under this bus as well. These are, and so the Muslims, the Hebrew Israelites, and the Christians are three of the most powerful religious communities in the black community. And of course, Christianity, you got like 11 different versions up under it. All right. But these are the most powerful ones. These are the ones that controls the mind of the black community. All right. Let's just be real. The black community is controlled by the religious authorities. not by the politicians, right? They're controlled by the religious authority. Now, this is how we fix it. I don't care. Now, we're not going to go into it. I'm glad nobody is talking about it. We're not going to go into, slavery, civil rights, and all these different laws that has been put there to try to hinder the black community. Because the biggest hindrance is the ones that we create ourselves. That's already there. And it's the religious community within the black community. $17 billion a year. Even though I think somebody corrected it last night. I think they said it's 30. This year will be like 20 billion. But $20 billion a year is collected by the religious community. Right? 20 billion. Not million, billion. Right? It's collected. It's money going into these organizations. Now, I'm not saying that they should just give out the money. Heck no. You need to earn it. You need to learn how to do it. That's why tonight I wanted to use The Richest Man in Babylon and teach people a basic financial formula in order to raise your finances. But I might do that next week or in a separate video. But here's the thing. These organizations they get all this money, but they control the mind of the people, which is more important. And I'm going to give you the simplified version of how they can fix it. It can be fixed. Within 1 year, the economics in every black community can be almost a 180 just by doing this. Okay? Now, this is so complicated. I want y'all to hold on, right? Because this is complicated. Every Sunday or Saturday, depending upon the religion, every Saturday or Sunday, they ask for tithes. I'm not telling them that's a whole nother argument. I'm not telling them not to ask for donations and tithes because it does take money to keep the church doors and the mosque doors open. I'm not saying they shouldn't. But every Sunday they ask for tithes. Why do they ask for tithes every Sunday? Because they know they have to do it through repetition. They have to repeat the process every time in order to get you to do it. They also have to promise you things that you're not going to get. They have to keep promising you hope in order for you to get to keep giving your money. What they have not done is give you reality. Now here's the thing. This is all they got to do. First, they got to identify every black business, every business owner in their congregation, right? Hey, Miss Hill, how you doing? Yes, it was nice talking to you today, Miss Hill. I just talked about you a few minutes ago, but we're gonna keep it down. Go back and look at it. But every business owner needs to be identified within the congregation of the religion. Then they need to be verified. If it's something like, if you're an electrician, they need to make sure you got all your license and your bond. If you're a cosmetologist, make sure you got all your license. If you own a business, make sure you're insured, that you got your business license. Make sure you're valid. Validate the business. Now, if you're a validated business, every Sunday, if they asking for tithes, right before or right after they ask for them tithes, they need to tell the people in their congregation, go shop with them. If you need a hairdresser, go shop with them. If you want to go buy some clothes, go shop with the person who owns the clothing shop. If you are going to restaurants, go eat at these people's at the people in your church or your congregation, your mosque restaurant. Go eat, shop, spend your money, bank with the people in your congregation first. And if you don't have somebody in that congregation, have another system that's developing entrepreneurship so that those people you can then have every other business. Every mechanic, I know every congregation got mechanics in it. Everybody's car in that business, in that congregation should be going over there. They should be getting their car fixed by that person. And guess what? You got one person who's a mechanic. What's going to happen is somebody else in that church will say, well, shoot, they're getting all the business. I'm going to be a mechanic too. And then you got two people who's a mechanic. They clean carpets. Oh, then you're going to have 2, 3 of them. People start developing because they're going to see the opportunity they can build their own business. Now, as these businesses grow, each business, as they need have a program. I developed a program to teach the business how to be and function properly, how to be good leadership. Each business, when they get ready to hire, because now they're growing, they need to hire from the congregation. Hire from your congregation first. You hire from your congregation. Now you're rotating your dollar. You're rotating the money. The people in that community now can do better because the businesses are being supported by the congregation, being supported by the religious authority. Then the people are getting jobs with the businesses that are being supported by the people in there. And guess what? to all these religious organizations, when other people outside of your church, mosque, synagogue, whatever, when they see that people are getting jobs and that business is growing and people are making money, they're going to start coming to your organization. They're going to show up at your church. They're going to show, because you're not selling them on some false hope. You're selling them on the reality of what's going on in your church. You're selling them on the reality of it. The reality that, hey, you can come here. You come to this church. We got people hiring. You come to this church. You own a business. We support each other's business in this church. And then what does the church do then? Teach the people how to buy a house. Teach them how to save money. Teach them how to use, and I'm going to give you the brief version of the richest man in Babylon. It does get to a 50, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 plan, but start with the 70, 10, 10, 10, which means that your household bills, everything it takes to run your household, does not go beyond 70% of what you make. Then 10% of what you make is used for financial freedom, for investment, to invest. Another 10% is for you to enjoy, for entertainment, because you got to have fun. You can't just sit home and just save money. And then another 10% goes into savings. Now, I know some of y'all may want to donate, but your donations come out of that 70%. So if you feel like you got to do 10%, take it out of the 70. And so you got to live off 60. But that's a simplification of the richest man in Babylon. All right. Vicky said, I tried to organize that when I was in the church and no one was interested, but each week someone was in need. Exactly. Somebody's always in need. Damon said the 70, 10, 10, 10 is powerful starting January. Good. Starting January. The book is The Richest Man in Babylon. Read The Richest Man in Babylon. Even though he does 50%, you eventually want to get to your household is run off 50%. And then there are other places for those 10% to go after that. And I've done a video on that before, but I can do another one. I'll do another because that's what I originally was going to talk about tonight. So then you teach the people in your congregation, church, whatever, how to do 70, 10, 10, 10, or 60 if you want them to pay them 10% tithes, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And then if people are doing that, they're saving money, they're having fun, now they can save and they can start buying the houses. They can start buying the property within their community. They can now, if they start to own the property and own the houses in their community, they're going to care more about their community. And if you're built and the businesses are growing, any minister who does this, any synagogue or mosque who does this, they will become a mega church. So if the pastor has an ego that says that they want to grow for the Lord and become, spread the word, you do this, you're going to have people flocking to you left and right. So you're going to get whatever it is that you want as well. But instead, they've been following the same practice of sow a seed into this and then God's just going to bless you. That's a bunch of bogus crap, y'all. I ain't trying to shut down anybody's, thank you, Vicky. I'm not trying to shut down anybody's hope or their faith. But here's the thing. If you sowing seeds into a church doesn't guarantee you're going to get a return on your investment. And then I even have people who say that, well, I might sow a seed financially, but then I got my money back in health. But that's not what that scripture says. That when it says that it will be pressed down, shaken, and it will, overflow, it's talking about getting a return back in what you put into it. That's like saying that, oh, well, I'm going to invest in a business, but instead of you giving me a return in money, I want you to give me a return in cutting my grass, or give me a return in friendship. Right? Well, Tara's like, hey, Tara, how you doing? But you just downloaded it, good. But, I mean, would you invest money in a business and then say, I'll be okay with just getting a return in friendship? Or would you say that if I invest money in a business, I want money back? Right? But see, the church keeps selling you, the mosque keeps selling you, the Israelites keep selling you, invest in here, and then God is going to return to you something miraculous. But here's the thing. A lot of you are going to get refund checks, not just the one you do in your taxes, but you're going to get a refund check because your mortgage company, they hedge that your insurance and your taxation for your house is going to be this much. But sometimes it's less, right? They didn't have to pay as much. So they give you the money back. And then that money comes in, you're like, oh, that money was right on time because I've been putting seeds in the church. No, that money came in because you were overpaid. Your mortgage company is taking more money out than they need to, and they have to give it back. It's law that they have to give it back. This is not a blessing that just happened. It's just how it works. The law of cause and effect says that for every cause there is an effect, and for every effect there is a cause. Meaning that there is no such thing as luck or chance. There's no luck would be you win the lottery without ever playing the lottery. That would be luck or chance. But you know that can't happen, right? Like everybody listening to this know that you can't win the lottery. Oh, thank you, Tara, for posting the link on Facebook of How to Find the Richest Man in Babylon PDF. Read that book. But everybody knows you can't win the lottery without playing, right? Right? We all know that. So you got to do something for it to happen. So if you play the lottery and you win it, it's not luck. It's because you played it. Cause and effect. If you put money into, there are people who've been putting 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, and they've lost their house, they've lost their car. There's people who've been putting 10%, 10%, 10%, and they've been living poverty. There was a story about a lady, she had been paying even 10% her whole entire life, and she died. She had no insurance. Her house was in shambles. Her bills were in shambles. She had been living off cat food and all this kind of stuff. She'd been paying 10% and she never got a return on her investment. Now imagine it, and she had been doing this since she was like 14. Now if you take a 14-year-old and you start putting 10% into a mutual fund, or put it in a hedge fund, or just buying blue chip stock, by the time you're 80, you are not going to have a need. It will be pressed down and shaken and overflowing. Because you've been putting it into a reality of that's going to bring you back a return on your money. So all I'm saying, I'm not saying the church, the mosque, can't ask for money to keep the doors open, the lights on, or even pay the pastor. But what I am saying is that if they can ask for that, then they can promote the business in their church, in their mosque. I'm saying if they can ask for that, then they can tell those businesses as they grow and they're supported by this church that they can then hire people, that they have to hire people from the church. It's going to work. That's how you change the economics in your community. And if you change it that way, you change the politics in your community. Because now the politicians have to listen to you because you hold the key that they all are looking for, which is money and votes. You hold the key. Now they come to the church because they know they can get you to vote for them. But that's how you get them. You get them that way. Now, your church gonna grow. Your mosque gonna grow because people want that money. They want to... Sorry, I'm doing this without water. Do you think that people just come running to your church because they just all of a sudden like, oh, no. If they haven't been indoctrinated already, or even if they're at home and they believe what you believe, but they don't show up, all of a sudden they can show up and get something that they want, which is a job, which is some money, they gonna show up. See, it's a good thing that I choose not to be a pastor because I'll be running that. And I'll purely be running because I wouldn't be doing it because I just wanted, no, because my life, I don't want that. I want to travel. I don't want to be stationary in one spot. So I can't, I know. But even I wouldn't even care if a pastor did that just to run game on people, to get them to build him a mega church. But if the community's growing and people are buying houses and getting jobs and the school systems are getting better because now y'all got money and y'all can influence what's going on in your school system. Now the police are not just running up in there, just shooting people and doing whatever they want to do in the community. Because I'm up here in Alpharetta. The police in Alpharetta are totally different than the police were in Lithonia, Decatur. I get hella respect from the police up here than I did when I was in Decatur. I'm in Decatur. Police look at me like I'm already a criminal. Up here, Alpharetta is predominantly white. Police just look at me like, oh, if you up here, you must, you good to go. I have no reason to harass you. When I would be at my store working late at night, I had the police come knocking on my door when I was in Lithonia and had made me verify that I owned the company and had a right to be in there. I was working in this store all night long. Two Alpharetta and a Milton cop was sitting outside drinking coffee and just talking. And they never harass me, bother me, ask me one dang question. It's totally different when your community got money. When your community don't have money, they treat you any kind of way you want. So you want to build your, people talking, oh, we got to build Black Wall Street. We can build Black Wall Street. But then you got so many people saying that, oh, no, they're just going to destroy it anyway. They're going to bomb it. Ain't nobody going to bomb it. They don't have to bomb it because you ain't going to build it. Let's just be honest. You're not going to build it unless we change. Unless everybody who's listening to this, I don't care what religion you are, if you're not willing, and if your church is not willing to change this, and please don't send me something. Say, well, my church, we do once a year, we have an entrepreneur workshop. Once a year, we have a day where all the business owners come and set up their little kiosk and show what business they have. Once a year, the pastor, we do a thing about buying houses. Once a year, we do a thing about economics. If they can ask for that tithe every week, they can promote the businesses in your church, your mosque, every week. So the once a year that's giving you, that's like how the NFL tried to sucker the players union by saying, oh, we're gonna give some money to the Negro College Fund, United Negro College Fund. That's that sucker move that they trying to pull on you, that your pastor pull on you when they do it once a month or once a year. If they can ask for that tithe every month, every week, they can do that every week. And if they doing that every week, they ain't gonna have to worry about the tithe. They ain't gonna have to ask for the tithe. The money just gonna flow. The money gonna just flow. But I'm just amazed at how many times people have not wanted to support my business who are black, because I don't believe what they believe religiously. I don't believe what they believe politically. And I'm not so quick to just jump on everything as it being racist towards black people. And I'm not racist towards other black people. I'm amazed at the letters that I get from black people when I get more support from white people. And I get more support from Hindu people and Indian people. What's funny is that the Hindu people support the heck out of me because I don't talk negatively about their religion. And then when I do talk about it, I will break it down to them. Just like I'll break down Christianity. Christianity has symbolisms, and then I'll tell them about, hey, most of your gods are just aspects. So I'll break it down to them. I'm not afraid of them to talk to them. So I talk the same way to everybody. But I'm just amazed at how we don't support each other's business, right? Yes, I was a little late. I'm amazed how we don't support everybody else's business. We support everybody else's business except the ones within our own community. How our religious organizations just won't support the businesses within their own congregation. And they believe what you believe. Everybody in there is supposed to be in agreement, but you won't support them. I'm amazed at how this little boy comes out screaming, bullying, and everybody just ran to it. But King Nan comes out talking about it, and nobody pays attention to it at all. Well, virtually no one. He doesn't get as much. And this was an intelligent little boy. Find his video, King Nan. N-A is King, N-A-H-H. And nobody comes out and says anything. I'm just amazed by that he doesn't get the same support. And we automatically find it suspect because he's a black boy. We are our own worst enemy. We are our own worst enemy when it comes to building community. We rather find the negative within the situation, within the person, before we find the positive or to work with each other. The last thing that I'm going to tell you guys of what happened when I first started this business. It was about second year in. I had this customer who was coming to my store every week. She would come every week. And where she parked, I could always see her car. And I always saw her husband. And I started asking her, why won't your husband come into the store? I see him every time. And she was like, he won't come in here because he won't eat your popcorn. He only eats Garrett's. I was like, oh, okay, so he only eats Garrett's. I said, my stuff is better than Garrett's. So I said, does he eat yours? She was like, no, he won't even eat it when I bring it out. So the next 3 months go by, and I was like, he still hasn't tried it? And she was telling me, no, he still won't try it. He said he only going to get Garrett's. He's just going to wait till we go to Chicago and get Garrett's. And then I asked her, I said, let me ask you a question. I said, your husband black, right? She was like, yeah. I said, he's from Chicago, right? She said, yeah. I said, so he knows black people in Chicago and everything's going on. She was like, yes. I said, I want you to ask him this. For the last 2 years, in the Decatur community, mostly black, football teams, school, sports teams, churches, and schools, I have helped our fundraising program has raised over $30,000 every year for these organizations in this community. That's how we give back to the community. And I said, and you see all my employees, all these kids who work for me, they all come from this community. I only hire people who live in the community where my store is. I said, so ask him, what has the Garrett family ever done for the black community in Chicago? How much money have they raised for the black community in Chicago? Now, sure, most of their employees are black, but how much money have they done for the schools and these travel teams in Chicago? Ask him. And I said, now it's owned by a Jewish guy, and I have no problem with the Garrett family doing whatever the heck they want to do with their money. I have no problem with the guy who owns it now want to do whatever the heck he wants to do with his money. But what I had a problem with is this black man who sits out there and he is so loyal to people who haven't done a dang thing in his community. And this man was like 40-something years old, and that company's been around for over 50 years. He's so loyal. But they don't do anything for the community, his community, for the black community in Chicago. And she went and told him. And he came in my store one time. One time. He came into the store. Just once. But then he never came back. She kept coming though. And I appreciate her. And she still, even though I moved over here, she still comes to the store. And I appreciate her greatly. That's the mentality. That's the thing that we have to break. We have loyalties to people who are not loyal to us. That's like a man or a woman staying in a relationship with someone who consistently cheats on them or beats them, who constantly verbal abuse them. They have no loyalty towards you, so you shouldn't stay there with them. I know people don't say, oh, don't advocate divorce. No, divorce somebody who's not treating you properly, who's beating you or lying to you or downgrading your personality. You should never stay in a situation like that. That is not a spiritually divine relationship. So leave it. So we want to build communities. We want to have strong communities. We want to get the black male unemployment rate is incredibly high. But if we build the businesses within the communities, then these young black men will have jobs and they will get out of the street. They will have jobs and hopefully be mentored by good business owners so that they can find more in their life to strive for. If we want to build the community, then we got to do the first part by getting the religious organizations to help build the business and getting the businesses to support hiring people in the community. That's it, guys, in a nutshell. That is it in a nutshell. That's all we have to do. Yeah, most people don't like their own people. Our mindset needs to be changed. That's the real battle. That's the real war. I appreciate you guys allowing me to rant for 53 minutes. For those who stayed with me, I really do appreciate it. This has been on my mind. This is one of the reasons why I haven't made as many videos in the last 7 days, because this has just been driving me insane for the last 7 or 8 days. And the icing on the cake was the little boy that everybody just went running to, and all these other little black boys. This other little black boy can't get in any play whatsoever. It's just self-hate, man. It's just a lot of self-hate. And then I got that letter from the dude, like I'm back here having sex on top of the popcorn or something. I don't even understand that. I don't even understand that mentality. I got a 100 on my health score. I got a 100. But you steady going to the chicken wing place that got an 80. And I'm telling you right now, if a place have less than 92, they had a contamination issue somewhere within that place. Trust me, getting that safe serve made me not want to eat at a lot of places. But, hey, ignore it. Keep on supporting these businesses that don't support your community, and then just complain. Or we can do something about it. So my way of doing something about it is I'll keep building this company and I'll keep talking about it. I'll build other companies, but I know that it's going to take the religious community to step up. And it'll take, hell, with my spiritual beliefs, it'll probably take another 50, 60 years to get enough force behind what I teach in order for people to say, oh, let me listen to what he finally got to say. But hell, ain't no telling what condition will he be in by then if we wait that long. So I appreciate everybody again for sticking with me. I love you guys. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Peace. Love you.